What's good, gang? Thank you for joining me here on your journey today. Happy Mercury Day. It's your boy, Mercury himself, GEMiNi the Alchemist. Glad to be here. Thank you for joining me. As for today's topic, we will be discussing developing your creative spirit. So what does that really mean? Getting to know yourself is the most valuable tool in your spiritual arsenal, especially in modern days with the mass hysteria. You do not want to fall into group psychosis. You want to be your own individual being, making your own decisions. If you're out here quadruple boosted up, I don't know why you're even watching a spirituality video or how you got the energy for that. That's just crazy. We've seen crazy things in the world these last couple of years. We've seen a lot of people go by the wayside. We've seen a lot of morals, virtues, and values go by the wayside, and you don't want to yourself go by the wayside. You want to be firmly grounded in who you are as a person, because that's what empowers you to be the strongest spirit you can be. So when you really get to know who you are, you become a weapon. When you know what you stand for, when you know what you fight for, when you know what you cry for, when you know what you get angry for, when you know what conditions cause you to get into certain states of being, you know how to utilize yourself. You know how to take yourself into battle. You know how to get shit done. You know how to wake up on time. You know how to have the habits and the routines and the structures in your life to do what you need to do to make shit happen. The powers that be in this human realm don't want that. They want you quadruple boosted up. They want you drinking water with fluoride and lead in it. They want you eating processed foods that have 1/100th of the nutritional value of that same food 50 years ago. This is all valid. This is all facts. This is all reputable. This is all Googleable. Even though it's a fact that Google be withholding information from you, I recommend you use DuckDuckGo. Things of that nature, because what happens is not only do you understand how to really utilize your positive traits when you get to know yourself, you know how to weaponize your negative traits. For example, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid. I don't claim that. I don't say I have that. It is not something that I own. However, the traits and the neuroses that lead into that are the same things that give me the energy to produce, record, and engineer a track in one evening. The same energy to make the same promo post for that same track one evening. The same energy that allows me to attempt to record the first version of this video after I was on 36 hours and no sleep. Your vices become your superpowers when you have a better perspective on them. And once you cultivate your vices into your superpowers, you now have weapons, you now have tools, you now have superpowers to use out here in spiritual warfare. Before I really elaborate on what spiritual warfare is, that's probably going to have to be its own video. But before I even give it to you succinctly, I'm going to give you an analogy. Would you rather go into battle knowing how to punch and kick, or would you rather go into battle being a well-trained swordsmith or a well-trained martial artist? If you just go in knowing how to punch and kick, so does your opponent. But if you're trained on how to utilize your hands or your feet or any weapons that you have, now you yourself have become a weapon. You yourself have become a dangerous force to be reckoned with, or maybe to not be reckoned with, rather, because niggas ain't trying to fuck with you like that. Or would you rather be just as equally equipped as your opponent? If you allow the world, if you allow trial and error to be the only way you get to know yourself and the world around you, you're only going to be as well equipped as the next man spiritually. You're going to be just as strong of a spirit as someone else. But if you really know who you are and you realize, like, oh shit, I had a sword back here this whole time that I could have been using, like, hypothetically, allegorically speaking. So, have you ever written out, like, what are your shortcomings? Where do you fall short? Where do you need to improve? You write those things down, now you can construct goals. When you write down what you're good at, now you can construct businesses. Now you have ways to leverage your abilities to help you get the resources to overcome your shortcomings. Now you have a multi-step plan for life, and all you did was write down what you are good and what you are bad at. When's the last time you looked in the mirror and just talked to yourself? Like, when's the last time you just thought out something with yourself? You don't have to sit in your head, because not all the time, not always are the thoughts in your head your own thoughts. And essentially, very succinctly, briefly, that is what spiritual warfare is. We have a hive mind consciousness. We discussed this in the last video. And regardless how you want to look at it, shit your mama told you when you were a kid still floats around in your head, even if you knew that she was on some crack shit about it and didn't have the full perspective. Other people's thoughts can get projected to you. I can sit in the same room as my girlfriend and like feel when she has a craving for like a certain food, because I'll be like, damn, I kind of want some Twizzlers too. And then we look at each other like, hey, you want that? And it's like, tell me why I was just thinking about that. When you get really, really, really self-aware, you can recognize when something is probably being projected to you from someone else in the same room. Because you can understand it's not me who's thinking this thought right now, because I wouldn't want processed sugar. Or whatever the case may be. That's not even related exactly to the last example, because sometimes I do be fucking up some processed sugar. I ain't even gonna lie, them gummy bears yesterday was hitting. But that's not the point. The point is that when you decide that you don't want that thing, you can feel when someone else around you is like influencing you subconsciously. So if someone can influence you subconsciously and you're not aware of who you are and what you would do in that situation, you allow yourself to be manipulated, even without words being spoken. That is spiritual warfare. When you know that you would never wear a mask in that establishment, and it doesn't make no sense for you to wear a mask in that establishment. It's not even a requirement. But the group of people you with is all putting on their mask, and you're like, oh, well, let me conform real quick. Sorry, you just lost that battle. Spiritually, your energy just got took and withheld and restricted. L. This plays really heavily into friendships and personal relationships. Because sometimes you be putting up with shit that you would never put up with it. But like if one of your friends was going through the same shit you were going through, you wouldn't tolerate it. You would be on their ass. You would be absolutely upset for their well-being. So you have to learn how to view yourself through a third eye perspective, through a God perspective, if you will, as high as possible. That's why I like astrology, because then you can understand how you come off to other people. But that's gonna have to be its own whole video. You have to understand how you come off to yourself first. If you got self-image problems, you might just need to look in the mirror more. I personally can say that I had a point in my life, or several points in my life, where I didn't even recognize it, but I wasn't even looking at myself in the mirror. I didn't even want to. I just wanted to get back to a screen to work on something, to build up something away from me, to make me feel better about myself by accomplishing something outside of myself. When I really just needed to look in the mirror and be like, damn, boy, you see that jawline? Shit, got good-ass genetics. So with that being said, mirror work, especially gravitation and affirmations along with mirror work, journaling, and getting to know yourself astrologically are four really good ways to really get to know yourself better and to have a stronger sense of who you are as a being. Beyond that, I implore you to have more conversations with more people, especially people who may disagree with you or people who may not like you. In a book by Robert Greene, or in several books by Robert Greene, who's a fantastic author, he states that you will often get the most truth from an enemy than you would a friend, because an enemy isn't afraid of hurting your feelings. So you're probably going to grow the most, at least intros, from an outside perspective in conversation with someone you don't like than someone you do like. In a conversation with someone you do like, you'll learn more about yourself through the operational perspective or through the history that you have together, rather than directly from what they're saying about life or what's coming out of their mouth. Or, maybe that's not the case. Maybe you might have some very honest, deep-ass friends. Maybe you have some friends like GEMiNi the ALCHEMiST who are willing to give it to you straight, even if it hurts your feelings. Those are good people to keep around you, and that's a good way to be. But it's really hard to be that way if you don't really know who you are and know what you stand on, what you stand for, and what you won't stand on or what you won't stand for. Without those traits, without those qualities, you will not attract the people into your life that you want to have into your life by default. It will be difficult for you because you have not put yourself in the position spiritually to operate in the same space as the people you want to be around. Don't be a square. Don't be a square. We want harmonious relationships. We want harmonious communication. Even if it's difficult to have, we want real radical results from everything we do, right? We want to grow when we speak. We want to manifest when we speak. So to do these things, get to know yourself. Get a journal. Write in it anytime you feel frustrated. Meditate, learn how to do breath work. I'll do more videos on each one of these things I'm discussing, I promise. But at least on some fundamental basis, start applying value to these things and seek ways to do them. There's plenty of content aside from what I've created, plenty on any of these things, whether it's getting to know your body better, whether that's looking at yourself in the mirror, whether that's stretching, whether that's exercising. You don't always have to do the thing to improve specifically, but doing it for the quality of life improvement that comes out of it. You don't have to work out to get huge. You can work out to feel better. Because when you get to know yourself, you might recognize, dang, when I do yoga 2 times a day, I feel immaculate. You might listen to your body more when you eat because of that. Because now you're getting to know your body better. You might recognize, you know what, when I eat almonds, my skin doesn't do too well. And things of these natures. Personal transformation starts and ends where you are. And if you aren't able to recognize where you are because you're delusional, or you aren't able to recognize where you are because you're being too critical of yourself, or whatever the case may be, you must be able to look at yourself honestly and be able to look at the world and the people around you honestly to get where you need to be at in life. I recently started writing down in full, thorough detail every single aspect of my natal chart. And it's been pretty transformative for me. Not even just from reading it and writing it, but from meditating on it after the fact and recognizing aspects about ways that I feel frustrated when I feel opposition in my career field, things of that nature. And such a very succinct and specific way to recognize how I come across to the world. I'm able to recognize, like, even just from filming videos of myself too. I recommend you film videos of yourself. I mentioned earlier that I filmed this video once before, or started this video once before. I filmed for over an hour. I was standing in the mirror with my camera flipped. That's where I came up with the idea to even do that as scenes in this video. I'm even looking at myself in this mirror before me. I was able to recognize, like, dang, sometimes, especially when I'm 36 hours, no sleep, feeling pretty manic, I can talk really fast and really passionately to the point where it almost sounds like I'm like upset with the person I'm speaking to, or speaking to them like a teacher, even though I am sharing information. Like, those parts was like, damn, like, I feel like I'm listening to a teacher right now. And, like, that shit was gross. I had to cut that out. And I was able to learn more about how I wanted to cultivate myself in the eyes of others. I didn't want to be hyperactive fucking communicating like this to people, especially when I'm trying to get a thought out and across to other people to then develop themselves and spiritually cultivate the people and the souls that attract to me, and likewise. Ever since I started filming videos again, my voice has literally gotten stronger. I've gotten a better understanding of myself. I've gotten more thorough on my fitness routines, my meditation and yoga habits. I've gotten deeper into my astrology and understanding my astrological self. I've gotten deeper into reading, particularly religious texts and philosophy, to help understand myself on a spiritual level, in culmination with the yoga and the meditation. I feel like I know myself a lot better just from doing things, let alone the fact that I've been journaling more along with lunar cycles. I typically only really journal around lunar cycles or when I'm working through something, but I'll make a whole video on meditation here soon. Regardless, is once you start feeling that growth, once you ground yourself in the practices that make you grow, you manifest and attract more. Like, habits stack on top of each other. If you've ever read Atomic Habits, you find that habits stack. The more you get to know yourself, the more you build a relationship with yourself, the easier it is to want to get to know yourself. If you feel depressed or anxious or anything that makes you feel detached from yourself, it might feel difficult to embark on that journey. So maybe you should start by getting to know your space better, getting more intimately involved with your space. How tidy is your space? How is your bed made? Are your clothes hung up? When you recognize that those things are part of you and they make you feel better, it's easier to get everything else in order. So I hope this video was powerful for you. I hope this video inspired you to be a stronger spirit, to think high and rise, to pursue truth, and to cultivate yourself into the strongest being that you can be. I recently dropped a fitness tutorial about how I get fit and get bigger and feel stronger. at home with little time investment every single day, although I do soon seek to spend more time on that and to devote more time to that and share more content on that soon, because I've already been doing that. Regardless of the circumstances, push towards greatness in every single calling that you feel inclined. This is GEMiNi the Alchemist. Make sure to subscribe to Delusional Path. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that bell, comment black nail polish in the comments below, and I'll find a way to make you smile today. Peace and prosperity, and I'll see you next time.